Choffcast. Yup, it's the Choffcast. Choffcast.
Yeah, all right. It's about that time. We're back on the Choffcast at Shoebox. Super excited to be sitting next to my good friend, Clarence Samuel Stick Day the
giving out
third?
the government early. The second. But Clarence
sorry.
is legit, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
And somewhere someone's thinking of the Eminem line. And it's okay.
Clarence's parents had a real good marriage.
Dude, ruined my life in 1999. Like, that was just collateral damage for no reason.
Yeah, well, that
What
was
a
like
dick.
that was like your era too. Like, how old were you when that
I was
movie came out?
18.
You were 18.
Yeah, in that era, yeah.
So you were, I mean, at your peak essentially.
Yeah, actually, shit. So that wasn't 99. That was probably like 01 or something. But yeah, right
Okay.
in that range.
Yeah.
Because I was working for DRQ when Lose Yourself and all that stuff dropped.
Whoa.
8 Mile.
Whoa.
They premiered it at the Phoenix Theater on 8 Mile, and
Damn.
cool. Biggest thing I remember about that is I had an Eminem hoodie that I was wearing around, and he wore the same hoodie that night. And
No
I was like,
way.
Hey! I thought it was the coolest shit ever.
So you're matchy with him
Yeah.
on premiere night?
Yeah.
Insane. It's funny to like fast forward and look at life now, because like back in those days, so you said 01. So I was in first grade.
Yeah.
Backstory. And I was like a big Lego guy, right? Like I would loved playing with Legos, and I was an only child, so I would just sit by myself and just play with Legos all the time and listen to the radio. And I remember like growing up, like listening to you guys, listening to, what was it, like Coco and Foolish.
Oh, dude.
Like I don't know. It was such a like fundamental part of my youth.
Yep.
Like I equate those times to like why I'm such a music fan these days.
100%.
So it's cool to like grow up and get to, have you on my podcast and yeah, I get to hear about you matching Eminem that night.
It's cool because like I have the same kind of storyline from like my childhood. I can remember vividly in 5th grade out in Walled Lake in some busted ass trailer park, the Chateau Estates, if anybody's familiar. Just sitting there and listening to like Lisa do the countdown on 96.3 Jams, Bo the Jammer coming at you with your hits. Man at Large was their night guy, and like we were just kids calling up the radio station incessantly. The annoying ass kids. Requesting like Baby Got Back or Snow Informer or whatever, and it finally gets on the air, and you're so ecstatic, and you're recording new music. I remember my sister recording new music from Janet Jackson on her little boom box, and that's why you'd hear like new music from DRQ right in the middle of it, because they knew people were recording it, so that it was going to be with them forever. They listen to the song, and every time they pop in the tape, it would be DRQ. Great marketing, man. But yeah, and then I later on got to work with Man at Large, got to work with Bo, who became one of my best mentors, and then got to work with Lisa. So like it's crazy, and it came full circle.
Yeah. It's crazy too to think that like today's generation will never know having the speaker to speaker record that you mentioned there.
Yeah, the communal aspect of it, of like waiting around for the countdown and all that. And I don't like to hate on it. Like that, it ran its course, right? That's how the world works. Now there's like a communal aspect around. Have you seen this TikTok? Are we doing the dance together? So like it's been replaced, unfortunately. But yeah, like radio was such a cool thing when it was the only way to get music.
Yeah, like I obviously didn't get radio in its peak like you did. I got radio kind of at the tail end of it.
Yeah, but you got it too in a smaller market where it's still more relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a place like Grand Rapids where there isn't much to do. There's not a lot of entertainment. A place that provides you with free entertainment. A place that's giving you tickets, creating events and stuff like that. Working in Grand Rapids is like working in a small town, and you could feel the communal aspect. And also here in Detroit, we're more apt to the radio than anywhere else in the nation. Because we don't have public transportation. Everybody's in their cars, so everybody has a radio. You go to New York, 90% of the people don't even own cars. They're in the subway. They don't have a radio. Like, they're listening to their iPod. That was when I moved out to Chicago and worked for KISS out there. That was one of the weirdest things ever, is like people didn't care about the radio. Detroit's always cared about the radio.
Yeah. It's kind of an interesting thought too. Like, is it just because we're in such a commuter market here? Like everyone's in their cars. Plus I feel like Detroit kind of has more of like a homegrown vibe to it. Like I remember you've always said it's the smallest big city you'll ever see.
It is. It's that Detroit versus everybody mentality, even back then without the Tommy Walker slogan, right? Like people support Detroit. They love things from Detroit. When you're on the radio in here, even we're learning it with Woodward Sports, right? If we talk national sports, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
But if we talk Lions, my God, they're eating it up. And it's the same thing with radio. I always tell people like Howard Stern lost in this market, one of the only major markets he lost in, because he was going up against Drew and Mike, who he couldn't out local because he was national. And here it's just different. It's different in Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah. People want to hear about what's going on around the corner from them.
Yeah, it matters. Like it's just different. I don't know how to explain it, but it's the coolest media market you can be in.
Yeah. I got to imagine too, like it was way cooler to be in the party scene when radio was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was my weaning into radio. I started on DRQ with a guy named Tic Tac. And like part of his role as a night show host at 93.1 DRQ was to be out in the clubs, and he was out 5 nights a week. And then, like Javon Hollywood would host Sunday night at Electric Kingdom downtown Detroit. So it was just such a staple in radio, but also radio brought the party. Like that's why they had you there for those events. But yeah, my schedule when I had my internship was like I'd work the day shift at Lids in Oakland Mall. And then,
oh wow, as a radio host?
Well, when I was an intern,
yeah.
that's when I got my internship. And then I'd go to work at DRQ. The night show started at 7. We'd go till midnight, and then we'd go host a club from like midnight till 2 a.m. And then after that, we'd go to after hours at like Numbers or the Works till 6 a.m. or whatever. But it was always, except for like maybe 1 or 2 nights a week, it was night show, club night, night show, club night, nights in Canada, nights in Dearborn, all over.
That's just wild because nowadays, I mean, most establishments around Metro Detroit are lucky if they get 1 packed night a week, much less 2. Like the best venues in town, I think, can pack maybe 3 nights, maybe 4. If we're talking like downtown, like, Apex Crew. But like beyond that, there is, nightlife is so few and far between.
It's what's so weird about this generation, but they don't have to meet people in clubs, right? You can just meet someone swiping left, swiping right, however it works. I'm not sure if it's left or right, but whatever. Like, you can meet someone. We could go online and meet someone right now.
Right.
Back when radio was sweet, you had to go to the club to meet a chick. They weren't just going to show up on your door. There was no iPhones and dating apps and stuff like that. Like, you may meet a chick at a house party or through a friend.
Yeah.
If you want to meet some strange, you had to go out.
I'd be so curious to like survey 100 people that have met in a club and then survey 100 people that have met on a dating app. Like, which is worse? You know what I mean? Because like when you think about it, like most people don't meet their wife or their husband in a club. Most people, I would probably argue, don't want to meet them on a dating app, right? Like it happens, but
it's 50-50 either way.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people, my sister met her husband on a dating app and it was great. They have beautiful children and worked out.
It feels like almost an equal level of wild card, I guess, is what I'm getting at here.
Yeah. Well, you used to have to be an extrovert though to go meet people. Now you can be a fucking closet person and still meet people and find your true. I don't know. It opens doors.
Yeah.
But now you have so many options,
Yeah.
I don't know. The psychology behind it's amazing. Like even the psychology behind, just meeting up to pre-party before you go, knowing when you're 18, you're going to get the big X on your hand. So you better smash a pint in the parking lot before you get in. Like,
it's funny.
Just stuff like that. They're missing out. They're really missing out. The stress of a fake ID, like all that stuff.
Yeah. I never did the fake ID thing.
Yeah, I did. I was always the youngest in my class, so like
Yeah.
I was using kids in my class ID. My buddy Jake, I literally got kicked out of Peppers in Windsor when I was like 17 years old. But like the on their website they posted the picture and it said Jake had to go. And I was like, yeah. He got banned for life
For letting you use his ID.
Well, Jake, I'm not gonna say his last name, but Jake got banned from life for that place. So if they ever like checked, oh, you're Jake, blah, 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 even if it was,
Nope.
yeah, but I wasn't him. So
That's funny.
yeah, first Deja Vu I went to on a fake ID back in the day.
Oh wow.
Tonic and not Tonic, just I had a fake ID taken at what the hell was that name? Tiki Bob's.
Oh,
They literally took I had no clue that Tiki Bob's was like running a stop sign in Detroit. Like getting stops, like what? Like I always thought you just had to show them an ID and you'd be able to get in.
Yeah. A little different.
Yeah, Tiki Bob's was such like a hot, sweaty, nasty Tuesday night.
What was like the spot of all the party spots from back in the day, Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday?
That's tough. It depends on how you evaluate the spot.
Sure.
Right? I tell people like one of the best clubs were Space downtown. It's where Legends is now. It used to be a club.
Like same owners as Miami Space?
I don't know if it was the same owners, but it was the same like concept, right? And that's where they had like midgets walking around. This chick named Brutal Betty, who was like a 400-pound dominatrix. It was
Sick.
like a circus of a club back then.
I love that.
And then really the first club I ever hosted was Altered State, and that was inside the State Theater, which is now the Fillmore.
Yeah.
And it was me, Godfather, and Mike Scroggs live on DRQ. But we would put 2,000 people in that thing every Saturday. And just imagine like the Fillmore, but on each side cabanas rolling down. So you had like 7 cabanas on each side and just beautiful lighting. They never booked concerts because they would bring in 2,000 for a club night.
Yeah, this is just a club night.
A Saturday club night.
Whoa.
It was like standing. SRO was the night with 89X before that. Then DRQ did Altered State. But like I went back to host something at the Fillmore a couple of years ago. It was a Halloween party, and on all the graves were all the old club night names that Ben put up there. And like very few got the joke, but I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen that they remembered all the dead club nights to roll through there, and they put them on the grave sites.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool Easter egg.
It's crazy to see that venue now. I mean, I've been there for concerts where it's not even like sold, not even close to sold out. There's nowhere near that many people in there.
Yeah, but imagine, how it like levels down on each level. There's a big tent with couches in it, VIP. It's where I like smoked weed with Nate Dogg. I mean, like D12 used to be there all the time. Proof would battle rap people afterwards when the club would close. The security were called the X-Men, who were just some badass motherfuckers, dude. One time they fought D12. It was insane because this dude was trying to get on stage. X-Men didn't know him, but he really could get on stage. And then the show, like, it was a disaster. I was like taking girls behind the curtain, like trying to Sherpa them out of there because it was popping off. Like, it was a crazy night. It was a cool night.
I feel like just hearing these stories, things got so much crazier too during those nightlives. Like as far as just the escalation of people's emotions and like. And back in the day, too, you clock someone in the face. That was like the end of it. You go home, life goes on. But now you clock someone in the face. 15 people have it on camera.
Yeah.
6 of them are filing a police report for some reason.
Yeah, and you're getting clowned on social media for getting knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, it's like
your emotions are hurt. Yeah, you used to be able to take an ass whooping, go home, put some ice on your face, and the only people that saw it are the people that saw it. And your boys weren't going to say anything.
Yeah.
Now there's shame.
It's almost like I almost am happy I was born when I was, just so I didn't have to,
Yeah, I don't know. The pluses and minuses.
Yeah, I feel that.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys.
Yeah. But it was also like when smoking cigarettes was allowed in clubs.
Holy dude, I forgot that was even a thing. I was so young, I forgot that was even a thing.
Oh my God. I'm not a cigarette smoker, never have been, and I literally had a wardrobe that I would wear to the clubs because you knew you're going to wind up with burn holes. You were going to wind up smelling like shit leaving that place. Like, talk to a bunch of chicks that are in like their 35, 45 era right now, and I guarantee you they can show you a burn mark scar from being at a club. Some drunk smoke, and then he like holds it down like right on her leg. Like, you know, they're just not paying attention. You're walking through.
I think I would have to choose a different career path. I could not DJ with people pushing cigs in my face all day. That sounds insane.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, cigarettes used to be it, man. Used to smoke in the mall. Used to smoke smoke on airplanes. Smoke in restaurants right across from the non-smoking section. Like if you from me to you, there'd be a divider right here.
Yeah,
this would be non-smoking. That'd be smoking.
That was what killed me as a kid. Like I would literally cry.
Yeah, cigarettes had their day too. They peaked like radio. You know? Now the kids are on the vapes.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Every 8-year-old now. What would you say to your kids if they started vaping?
I wouldn't say anything. I'd smack the hell out of them.
Yeah, good dad right there.
Yeah, tough love.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't smack my girl. But yeah, no, we'd make a very important point.
Yeah, you have to. I feel like.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little more about your radio life before we get into some other stuff here, because it's like you've been on, you know, so many great stations. You've had very successful shows. A #1 night show in Detroit, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Tell me about kind of a moment that stands out to you where your view of the audience changed forever. Like you kind of looked at everyone in a different light. Was there, you know, maybe it was something funny someone did. Maybe it was, you know, a heartfelt thing someone said. I just remember one night for a personal one was like when I was filling in doing nights in Grand Rapids for a while. It was like one day I got a call from this like really sad kid, and he was just like, dude, I have no friends, but like every night you come out here and you make me laugh. And I never even heard of the little town that this kid was from, even though it was a half hour away, but I was just like, this is why you do it, you know?
Yeah. My mind was going a different direction when you first asked the question, but then when you told that story, like something immediately popped in. And there's this girl named Jackie who used to call the show every night. And I don't know if she was special needs or not, but you know, she called the show every night. Hi, Stick. Love you. Hi, Stick. And you know, like after a while you take it for granted, right? Like this girl's calling every night.
Oh my God, there she is.
Yeah, hi Jackie. Yeah, I'm trying to edit a phone call right now. Can I, call back later? You know, and even though she's the sweetest girl in the world, you're trying to edit phone calls. You're trying to run a show. You're trying to be entertaining. So, now, you know the feeling. Like a
lot going on.
A sweet girl that keeps asking you for a request, right?
Yeah, stop.
And so, like, I want to set that part up of the story because, like I said, at some point you kind of take it for granted. Not you're dismissive, but you take it for granted, and then. I already mentioned his name once, but Javon Hollywood, who used to be a club host in this city, actually the one who kind of handed me the keys early on. Like, he vouched for me with all these people, with the Godfathers, with the Scroggses of the world, with the club owners and all that. He's like, Stick, this guy's next up. So, like, I owe a lot to him for my club hosting. He passed away, and I'm in the studio. I'm doing my job, and I'm kind of depressed, right? You know, I still got to entertain. Mm-hmm. And pick up the phone and hear, hi, Stick. I'm like, hi, Jackie. And all she says is, sorry about your friend. And it just crushed me. Like, I started tearing up, and I was like, man, this girl, like, followed me so long and cares about me. So that was, like, a real aha moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that it took me a while to realize in radio is that people actually, like, do care about you and your stories. Like, your frequent listeners like that. You might think you're just like shouting in a void, but it's definitely you're impacting people.
Well, that's where my mind initially went when you asked the question. Like Tony Travato, who you worked for, shout out, iHeartRadio. He really forced me to realize that when I got the night show at DRQ, or at Channel 955. I was really good. We had a great content. We were doing Are You Smarter Than a Stripper, a Ho I Know on Tuesdays. And, like, it was great, funny, interactive content, right? But it wasn't personal. And, like, we'd air check every week. And he's like, dude, I didn't learn anything about you this show. Like, I don't know anything about you. Like, I know nothing about you. The show's entertaining, but I know nothing about you. And so one night he pulled the reins from me. And he's like, no phone calls tonight. No bits. Every break has to be about you. I was like, dude,
What?
I was like, I'm not here to be some self-indulgent jock. You know, like, I hate those people that are like, well, I did this and stuff like that. But, you know, it's the boss. It's the job I worked 13 years to get. He's given me advice. I'm going to do it. I'm a soldier. So I do the night show. It's on a Friday night. I'm hosting V Nightclub afterwards. I'm only on 7 to 10 because the nightclub starts about 10:30, right? And, like, I do a personal show. I talk about my cat. I talk about my dad. Talk about my sister. Talk about my junior high. Talk about high school. Talk about where I played Little League football. Like, all that shit. Immediately when I walk in V Nightclub, this girl comes up to me and be like, my cat has the same name. And I was like, this motherfucker. Like, and he was right. That's what I was missing from, like, being the final complete jock.
Huh.
Because once they start caring about you, the content is secondary.
Totally.
And, like, me thinking it was being self-indulgent, really it was just me being endearing to somebody. And his line to me was like, why is your best friend your best friend? Well, you know everything about him, good and bad, and you trust them anyways.
Yeah.
So the listener will be your best friend if they know everything about you, good and bad.
Yeah.
So that's what makes, like, Mojo so great. I mean, you know all of Mojo's warts, unfortunately.
Right.
He goes too in depth, but that's what makes Mojo great. People know Mojo. They do.
Yeah, it's cool. It kind of breaks down that wall too of, like, entertainer to listener. It's like I remember when you were helping me in radio, you would always kind of say, like, you're talking to one person and it's like just you and them hanging out.
Yep.
And that really changed the way I speak on a mic even today.
That was Alex Tier, who runs Sirius XM now, the top 40 division. He taught me that when I was very young. He's like, listen, and the way he put it to me made so much sense. He's like, listen, you sound like an announcer right now. Right?
Hey, what's going on, you guys?
Yeah, the concert's this Friday. It's going to be amazing. Come on out, girls in short skirts. And, you know, like exactly. But he's like, I want you and me to pretend right now we're standing in a grocery line. And I ask you, hey, are you going to the concert on Friday? What's it going to be like?
Yeah.
And he's like, you wouldn't be like, oh, man, the concert's going to be amazing. Like, you wouldn't be like that. You'd be like, oh, dude, so looking forward to this concert, man. I heard the light show's going to be amazing. Looking forward to seeing the honey. Like, you would be a lot more smooth with it. And that's part of how I changed my delivery early. So there's been so many people that have helped me, like, tweak along the way.
Yeah. No, I really owe it all to you. Even just having this podcast here, like, you mentioned your buddy that got you in, like, you were the guy that got me in, and just, I think you were the first person that believed in me after my mom, really. Like,
that's a great compliment, man, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. So just, like, backstory for people that don't know, it's like I walk into the radio station as an intern, and there's 7 of us, and six running afternoons on SNX, and he's just like, yeah, if you guys ever want to, like, learn anything, just let me know. I'll teach you whatever. I don't. If I remember correctly, I was the only one that was like, "Teach me everything."
And that's what separates everybody. Like, I mean, you want to say good from bad. It just separates everybody, and that's why, like, that's how I knew. You know, it's gonna take that to get in the door, but then you need more to get through it, more to keep enduring, more to, like, get over firings and hurdles and what the fuck am I going to do next and all that. But if you have the initial will to walk through the door and demand a spot, I'm going to give you a spot and a chance 100% out of 100.
Yeah.
Like, because that's kind of what I did. Like, I wasn't really a radio kid. I talked about listening when I was young, but when I was in high school, like, radio, it was always in the background, but it wasn't like something I digested and really, it was there. Right.
Right.
But then I heard Tic Tac on the radio talking about he needed new interns, and I just drove to the studio and tried out. Like, it was such a random freak occurrence. But I walked in and I got my fucking internship and never left radio.
Yeah.
Like, dropped out of college, all that shit, just went straight to radio. So whenever I see that type of drive for somebody, I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, I had to fake my paperwork for my first internship. Like, you were fortunately in college and going to get credit.
Yeah.
I was told, can't have an internship without a college credit. So I called Henry Ford Community College. I knew they had a media program. I was like, hey, I plan on enrolling in the fall, but I have an offer for an internship right now, and they need my paperwork. Can I really don't want to miss this opportunity. Can I get the paperwork to enroll, and you guys can approve the internship pre-enrollment? And they worked with me. It was cool, guidance counselor, but I never enrolled in Henry Ford. I just got the paperwork, took the job, and
That's really smart, though. That's
never saw him again. Hustle.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference, right? A kid that I hear it all the time. Well, I can't get this. I'm not going to do it. It's like, all right, then don't.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't.
your narrative, I think, determines your outcome 9 times out of 10, maybe even 10 times out of 10, really.
Your will.
Yeah.
You can't beat someone who doesn't quit.
Yeah.
You just can't. It's never over.
What do you think your mic would say to you after all these years if your mic could talk back?
Lysol, please.
Bro, I remember some of those.
That's not where I was supposed to go.
Some of those those mics in Grand Rapids had like food from just years up in there. And I'd watch jocks talk like this with the microphone on their face, and it's like
Club mics, man. Just random club mics. People would like talk like this.
They go in the back pocket. I know you're not holding your farts in all night.
And you don't want to leave the mic on when that happens.
You had that? You've had that happen a few times?
Maybe. It's just bass.
It's just bass.
It's just bass.
It's a remix.
The record
dog.
skipped.
What, you've
The
never heard of a
record
remix? No, it's funny though. On the topic of like your influence on my life, not to make it all about that, but you want to?
No, yeah,
sure.
let's.
I'm down. Why not? I was a dubstep DJ pretty much before we met, which is like kind of crazy to think about now. I mean, you know, I like to play all genres of music now, but before I like got into radio, I was very much force feeding this style of music that I loved onto everyone that didn't want to hear it.
That's a major problem with young DJs, and I hate being on my old man yelling at the cloud shit, but everybody wants to be educators. You need to be entertainers.
Yes.
It's one of the greatest lines I've ever heard. And some DJs won't break. No, I need to be the one that played the coolest record on the B side of something that's never going to be fucking released, but it's so deep you've never heard of it. Like, cool. Go do that in your fucking basement with 12 people.
Yeah.
When you're playing to a broad audience, you play fucking Miley Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna put their hands up and party in the USA. And then you can play your Waka Flocka. It's generational. It's transitional. Like, I was out of the clubs for a long time. I stopped hosting, and then I did the family life for a bit, and I wasn't going out to the clubs every weekend to hear like the newest tracks and everything cut like that. And then I went to Annex, and they're just dropping the same fucking hits from 10 years ago, and the people are going crazy for them. And it's like, because those are the anthems.
It's every
you play
weekend.
the hits. You play Sweet Caroline on opening day. You do it, even if it's against your. Oh, I'm not that type of DJ. So you're not an entertaining DJ. You're not a crowd interaction DJ. What the hell are you then? Oh, well, they're going to learn about, this dubstep track that's going to drive 7 people. Now, that's good because you're circulating the bar, which is important to do. Drive people off the dance floor sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, and like I'll still sneak like whatever records I want into my set. Like I'm not gonna nothing is off limits when I'm playing.
But it's like radio, right? It's all in how you program it. You're not going to play 2 new songs back to back. If I'm going to play a new song, and this is part of the formula to good radio, if I'm going to play a new song, I'm going to follow it up with Get Low by Little John.
Yeah, catch him.
Because even if you're unfamiliar with the record before, but if you go unfamiliar, it becomes a different ballgame.
And the room just starts to smell different. Like, like I remember the first time I think it was like the first year in radios when I really started to like recognize that was a thing. Like I remember my first party in the park I played with you guys was it like Lil Jon and T.I. I think.
John. Yeah, I made a programming error that night. I should have put Lil Jon on last.
Fuck yeah, you should have.
Stupid. But T.I. was our headliner. It's stupid though. But either way, go ahead.
Never again. If anyone who books those two,
You cannot go from crazy high tempo to T.I. trap music. You just can't. You just can't. But go ahead. Like the crowd like left in the middle of fucking T.I. because it was like almost boring at that point. Like what you know about that when they're like shot.
Well, yeah, it's like you don't quite realize how many hits Lil Jon has until he comes up and it's like into shots, into get low, and it's just like banger, 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 banger. It's like okay, then we play whatever you like.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry.
No. But I just remember at that show, and I look back at videos from it, and it's like I was starting to get it, so I would play like a popular song that builds into dubstep. Yeah. I was like, but you look at like the crowd looking at me in those moments, they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like having the time of my life. I'm like lit. I have no, like, you couldn't tell me that they weren't enjoying it. But like when you look at the videos after.
Yeah, it's like when you're drunk at the bar, right? And like that scene, what's that? Beer Fest. When he's drunk as hell, he's like, hey, you know, slap and tickle. But in real life, he's drunk as hell, saying sloppy pickle. like, you feel like things are going well, but, you know.
Yeah, but they're definitely not.
But at the end of the day, the good news about a DJ like you is you're not going to be up there lacking energy, right? And people feel, even if your track list isn't dead spot on, you're fun to watch. Mm-hmm. You're entertaining. You know, people want to see other people enjoy themselves. So, like, if you were up there playing dumb songs and just like disinterested, and it gets
that's a whole different, whole different ball game.
And for anybody like an MC is awesome, but an MC needs a good DJ. Period. Like, I always told club owners that, like, don't even bring me in unless like the DJ's good. Yeah,
they got to give you like the proper spots to talk. They got to know when.
Well, that's almost a lost art nowadays. But it's, but yeah, like if they're not playing hits, I can't hype up stuff that nobody cares about.
Yeah, no, it's a good piece of advice though. Is the you're not an educator necessarily when you're DJ. I think there's moments for it. I think if you're playing, you know, at a certain club, if you're playing maybe say the Magic Stick or a place like that that's known for kind of being for the fanatics, but if you're playing just like a random spot, it's like you're not gonna hold much down. You're not gonna. I don't think you're really gonna be able to like pay your bills at a medium level as a DJ unless you kind of figure out how to make people rock.
Yeah, play to the masses.
Play the masses.
Play the masses.
It's simple. It's easy.
It really is simple. Play the hits, and it's the same thing with radio programming. Play the hits. Like, and that's where a lot of radio programmers would fail in their careers. They just try to force hits. And why are you wasting spins on a song that's going to flame out in 150 spins when you could be playing Justin Bieber for the 2000th time? But people love it.
People love it. They're on Baby.
They do.
It's over.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So walk me through the transition from radio to building a sports network. Kind of not necessarily like how it happened exactly, but like some lessons you took with you and kind of how those journeys crossed, I guess. It seems like it's very in the same lane, but also very different because you're like an entrepreneur now.
It's different. I mean, we were even talking about you building this studio. Like when you're responsible for every single detail, it's a whole different ball game than just showing up and going to work.
Yeah.
You know, like got to know everything because when people have problems, they're coming to you. I just gave a speech at a business class about that. They were talking about being a startup, and I'm like, just learn everything, do everything, become a master at it before you hire someone else. Mm-hmm. You have to. And then once you scale to the proper, you could start hiring masters to take over, right?
Sure.
And specialists. And that's kind of where the stage we're at now. But yeah, it's very much similar to the same mindset of radio and just media in general. And that's, we're not trying to be like a sports center all suited up and, they don't talk about themselves and stuff like that. We want to be kind of like an in-between of like a bar stool and a sports center. Like, you can take us credible, but we're also going to, talk about different things and like let you get to know us and see behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Because once I said, once people like you or hate you, they'll watch you.
Right. That's an interesting point too, that the hate almost sometimes gets more, especially in the sports world. I feel like
Oh.
the more you can make people mad, the more they're gonna come back.
I mean, that's where
Rage
we are.
bait.
Yeah, that's where we are as a society. Like, people are more apt to interact with things they hate than things they like. And you can go back to Private Parts. You ever seen the movie Private Parts with Howard Stern?
I am the worst movie viewer. I haven't seen a lot of movies, but
Please, for the love of God, anybody who's ever been involved in anything media, go watch this movie and then watch it again.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it today.
I promise you, you will laugh so hard now that you've been behind the scenes in media about some of the shit that they do. But there's a part when he goes to New York and their program director, who Howard Stern called Pig Vomit on the air, like that, he built a character, called him Pig Vomit. And the guy actually ended up ending his career here in Detroit. But that's neither here nor there. They're going over ratings, and this program director hates Howard Stern's content, thinks like people are, a few advertisers have dropped off, and it's really not paying off. And first ratings report comes out, and the guy's like, "You got to see this," to the program director. And they're like, "For the Howard Stern listener, they listen for 1 hour at a time. Number one reason, they want to hear what he's going to say next." And he's like, "Well, that's great for the people that like him, but what about the people that hate him?" He's like, "The people that hate him listen for 2 hours at a time. Number one reason, they want to see what he's going to say next." And it's true. It's true. It's like anything in life. You evoke emotion, people interact.
That's so true. Huh. It's cool to think about though, like just how, I don't know, how you can kind of guide an entire audience into like not necessarily believing something, but like thinking a certain way, right? Like if say like something's going on with the Lions and you guys have like a really interesting take, I feel like you can almost like kind of shape the narrative of like what that even means. Am I wrong?
I mean, there's an element of inception, right? Like if you introduce an idea, the human brain, you can't unintroduce it.
Sure.
So, I mean, you can't really control a narrative, but you can put ideas out there for people to weigh in on.
Yeah.
And that's really the fun part of sports radio. And like, to me, part of the reason I started Woodward is you're watching all these sports pundits, and why does their opinion mean more than mine? Like, what has Stephen A. Smith ever done that I haven't on an athletic field? Why is this guy's credentials more important than mine? Because he's on TV wearing a suit?
Yeah.
You know, like same thing with Skip Bayless. Like, what the hell has Skip Bayless ever done that I haven't done? Like, so part of my mindset with Woodward Sports is my opinion's just as valid as his.
I would argue more too, because you're just like a raw fan, you know, especially of Detroit. You're like one of the biggest Detroit fans I've ever met.
Yeah, I couldn't do this in another market.
Yeah.
Like when we're talking on Woodward Sports and we can go on tangents about the 89 Pistons, about the 91 Lions. Like I was there, I lived it, I watched it, I have stories from it. Like I couldn't do that if we moved to like, let's say Miami. Like I have no Marlins memories. I
Right.
have no Florida Panthers. I couldn't tell you who was on their team 2 years ago, but I can go 30 years back on every roster in Detroit. So yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it. I'm a fan. I love this shit.
Yeah, I always thought that was like the biggest bullshit take though too. I remember when Woodward Sports was first starting and people would kind of be like, well, like no one there is credible. Like why would I listen to them? And I'm just like, they're diehard fans of this sport that have studied it their whole life. Like that is the most credible. Like ESPN or what, like, you know, whatever is I feel like got to be way less credible just because they don't have so much skin in the game. They're talking about Detroit 1 minute and then they're talking about whatever, New York the next. It's like they don't care. It's on to the next.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, they don't care about Detroit.
Your well-being is rooted in the Lions' well-being.
Yeah, but I mean, like we discussed, people are more likely to bitch than anything. And,
Yeah.
you know, like one of my favorite sayings is no one boos a bench player.
That's
Like, nobody shows up to boo the 12th man on the bench. You only boo the stars. So if someone's talking shit about you, you ain't a bench player anymore. You're doing something.
You're always doing something.
I like doing stuff.
I'm really curious too. Like, so you got this sports network you're building, you know, big empire, lots of responsibility. You go and start a bounce house company. Like,
Yeah.
what?
You were part of that inspiration.
Me?
Yes. Seriously. So my buddy Merrick, who I met hosting Voodoo Nightclub in Canada.
Yeah, shout out Merrick.
Well, yeah, we became really good friends. He was at my wedding. Great guy. He worked when I hired him at Channel 955. So kind of rewind, when I met him at Voodoo Nightclub, I was like, dude, if I ever ran a promotional team, you would be my first hire because he's in the club. He's dancing. Ladies love him, but he's respectful. He's having a good time. And it was actually his buddy that was trying to get a job with me. But his buddy was kind of like, I'm trying to be Mr. Cool. I'm hitting on all the girls. But Merrick just, like, it all came natural to him.
Yeah.
Like, he's just that dude. He's smooth as fuck. So I told him, I was like, if I ever ran a promotion department, I'd hire you. Well, about a year later, I got the promotions job at Channel 955 and Mix 92.3. Merrick was my first hire. Joey Namath was my second. And we started building.
You really know
squad.
how to pick them.
Like, there's not much I'll brag about, but I know talent when I see it. And part of it is the work ethic that comes along with it, right? Like, give me a guy that works hard and less talented, and we'll outwork the talented guy.
It was off camera, but he pointed at me when he was saying
Yeah. There you go. So Merrick, he was working at a bounce house company at the time, and he quit to come work for me. Well, then after, I left 955 to go out to Grand Rapids, that kind of era was over of hosting clubs and stuff like that. He went and started his own bounce house company. He was doing it for years, and I always told him, I was like, dude, it'd be a great idea. Just, like, call one Bloomfield Bounce House and, like, only deal with high-end clients, charge a little bit more, but make sure your shit's clean and make sure it's new and make sure it's great because, he handles downriver right now. It's a little different price base. So years went on, whatever. And when I started dating Corey, every year for her daughter's birthday, she would get a bounce house. And I'm like, Merrick's killing it. Corey's bounce house. And you were DJing at the world's largest bounce house.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, every fucking day in my timeline, it was like, bounce house, bounce house, bounce house, bounce house. And I was like, you know what? Woodward had kind of gotten to the point where it was running itself. Had some extra money in the bank. Had some free time, willing to put in the effort. I was like, all right, I got to sacrifice maybe 2-3 summers to build this company up. But if I go at it, in 2, 3, 4 years, I can start hiring people out, not have to do the labor, but collect a little bit on top, And there it is. Now we're 20 bounce houses deep.
20?
Tables, tents, chairs, dunk tanks. I mean, it gets crazy during the summer. I got 2 crews that go out. It's the best. One of my biggest regrets in life is not starting this 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I know so many people with kids and but once again, here's the cool part of that, right? Because we built our social media through radio, because we've met people in clubs, because we're shaking their hands, became friends, taking an interest in them, on social media. When I start these things, I have an instant support system.
Yes.
And those are the people that immediately share my shit, book my shit, tell their friends, tell their sisters, oh, we used to use this company, but you have one now? We're going to use you. And that's where not being a dickhead comes into play. Like, don't fuck people over. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you bring up there, because I will say one thing that I internally struggle with a lot, having built my following through DJing and things like that, is being too off topic or feeling like I'm all over the place when I'm on social media. And one thing I really admire about you and everything you do is how you've been able to really utilize that audience. And it's like, oh yeah, one day he's just starting a bounce house company, and you get an insane amount of engagement. People love it. Talk to me a little bit about that, cross-pollination. Is any of my thought process that I have valid, or is it just is what it is? I mean,
in what aspect?
Feeling like I'm a little I guess feeling like I'm off topic too much if I post stuff besides DJing. For example, I try not to post my podcast a ton because I feel like I have a DJ page, and it's I don't want to.
But it goes back to what we were talking about on the radio. Get personal, man.
That's fair.
The reason a lot of these people, and I've needed them at points in my life too. Like when my dad was going through cancer, and I'd post something about him, and you'd get a ton of engagement. And it's not about the engagement; it's about I had a distraction. I could go through and read positive things, good things, and that helped me during those times. But you have to have the ability to share your bad times and your losses too.
Sure.
The people know about my first divorce. People know about me getting fired from any radio station I worked at. People know about my dad battling cancer, when I have to put my cat down. It's, to me, a lot of people use it as just a highlight reel, but I try to be as real as possible. Hey, my baby's being born. Here's a picture. I get personal because I like sharing my life with people.
I love that. I think maybe I need to tap back into that a little more. I think it was really easy to be a lot more personal when I was on the radio every day, and when I was kind of
outlet.
I was kind of forced to. Whereas now I feel like I'm getting back into it. You know, starting the podcast up again and giving content that isn't just me behind the decks.
Yeah, well, and it's important in this podcast to talk about yourself, even though you're having guests on. It's important to share stories and
totally,
because now someone knows how you got your radio start. They knew you were the only intern to fucking walk in my office and be like, I want to learn.
Yeah,
and you beat down the door, and then next thing you know, you've DJ'd at every club in Grand Rapids. Like, to me, watching you has been like watching a miniature version of Guitar Hero, right? Like, you're a little kid from Howell.
South Line, but yeah.
South Line,
same thing.
Same shit. You go up to Ferris State, which is a little bit bigger market. You kind of take that over, DJing all the parties. Then you slide down to Grand Rapids, a little bit bigger market, bigger stage, better lights. You're at the intersection.
Ooh.
The all hell, you get in Van Andel. Then next thing you know, you're here in the clubs, Annex, you're here at 350, you're here, DJing before the games in front of the, 20 or 2,000, 3,000 people at the 10 events. You're opening up like that's, if you look at it, it's literally Guitar Hero, learning on the small stage, getting better, playing for bigger crowds, and it's fun to watch. Dude, you were touring the fucking world, man. I've never done that.
Yeah. It was fun.
I can imagine. I've never done that.
Yeah.
Like, all the things you think I've done in life, you've already done things I haven't.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I think, I think it's just a lot of, really locking in and realizing, what works, what makes sense. A lot of just really checking my ego at the door.
Yep.
That's been the biggest. I think if I had to point to one reason that I've been able to, like you said, travel the world, play at all these clubs, and elevate in this Guitar Hero fashion, which is still just getting started, it's just because I made a commitment to do a great job and to put myself last in most situations.
Yeah, it's an important lesson. Sometimes you have to learn it. Like, I learned the hard way when I got fired from Chicago. Dude,
how'd that happen?
I was a dick. I was an entitled asshole. I can't say anything more or less about it. We got fired here at Channel 955 on the night show by iHeart, then got picked up immediately in Chicago by iHeart. It was the weirdest situation, right? It's but Tic Tac did some stuff that we had to be let go here in Detroit. It was FCC stuff, right? You have to let them go.
Yeah.
So we get picked up in Chicago, and KISS 103.5 is struggling. They're losing their market hold, and they're going up against a monster, and they bring us in, just we were a wild ass night show in Detroit, and they put us in Chicago in the afternoon drive in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
The most listened to ever, right?
With you, were they intending for you to do the same show you were doing at night?
Essentially, right? But instead of hot girl check-in, we did hot mom check-in.
Okay. It trend up a little bit.
We grew up probably 5-10 years. But that's the type. But it was still interactive, stuff like that. And we went number one right away. But I didn't feel like I was getting paid enough. I didn't feel like they were giving me enough shine. I didn't feel like they had us in company housing downtown, and I didn't feel like I was getting my own apartment. I needed, if they wanted me to stay, they needed to do this, this, and this. Until they were like, yeah, no, we don't got to do any of that. And when we left, they took a small hit. It's not like but they ended up fulfilling that hole, and the show went on without us. And that's one thing you got to learn in media, and learn it the hard way. The show's going to go on without you. Doors are going to open, lights are going to turn on, music's going to play.
No gig is forever.
No.
Unless you're the owner.
Yeah, and even then, they close their doors. They change up, they switch formats. It's different.
That's the name of the game.
Right. If you can get 5 years out of a club, you've done a good job.
Yeah. I would say that's an incredible. And once I do something for 5 years too, I almost it's like a torch in the sand.
Yep.
I'm no longer upset if I don't have that gig. Don't
Yep.
get me wrong, I would love to keep my gigs forever, but at 5 years, it's all right.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah, I've graduated.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. You've done the graduation.
Yeah. Because
I did Tonic for 8 years. I think that was my longest standing. Or the Canada clubs I did for 15, 18 years.
Yeah.
But none standing for 18 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I did that breakaway gig hosting
Yeah.
the main stage for 5 years, and on the 6th year they brought in someone else, and it was actually like really nice. Like I kind of thought it would be like a bummer, but I felt like I sunsetted it. I feel like we did it.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do it forever?
No,
Like, it's fun.
gotta move on. It's
Yeah.
Guitar Hero, baby.
Yeah,
Next
it's
level.
got to go on to the next stage. But yeah, but I'm to the stage now where I host maybe 4 events a year, and that's all I really care about.
That's perfect though. You get out there, you get it out of your system,
And they're my favorite events, which I always tell my wife. I'm like, we're gonna go out to this anyways, so why not go out to a place where you're getting compensated for it?
Yeah.
You can have a lot more fun. You have access to everything. Like,
Do you
why don't you host?
Yeah, no, hosting is you're great at it too.
Oh, thank you.
Do you feel that there's like much crossover now? Like when you say you host a big event, like do you think that helps your other businesses, helps get people to book bounce houses, helps get people to tune into the network? You think being present has as much of an impact now as it might have in your radio heyday per se?
I mean, it's always good to network.
Yeah.
So yes, and not only that, it's memory refresh. A bartender that I haven't worked with for 10 years who's got a kid and like, oh, I heard you have a bounce house. Yeah, here's my number.
Great.
So it's all networking.
Yeah.
And it depends on the event. Like opening day at the Godfather, his party, right? We broadcast live with Woodward Sports because Brian's amazing and has us there every year and lets us. At first, it was a favor getting us all that exposure to 3,000 people that what nobody knew or cared about Woodward Sports. This year was the first year I feel like we held our weight. You
guys
brought people too. We turned in like a 300-person guest list. Like there were 3 or 4 deep watching our show and stuff like that. So it was cool to. He believed in us early, so contributing now is pretty cool. But that's great exposure for Woodward Sports to be hosting those events.
Absolutely.
And to have the mic at those events, just the best. You know that. I mean, they're such fun, interactive crowds.
Absolutely.
They came for one thing. They have a good time.
That's my favorite part about DJing those parties is you're just on 10 all day.
And nobody can be pretentious in a parking lot. Like it just can't happen. You're gonna get a little more wild. It's gonna be a little more laid back. It's not gonna be bottle service and velvet ropes and
no. You're waiting 20 minutes in a bathroom line.
Yeah, and the hot chick that's wearing a mini skirt to the club on Saturday night is in her Tigers hoodie and jeans, just letting loose. Like it's I love those atmospheres.
Yeah, those are super fun to be a part of.
Yeah, I like those parties. But yeah, I'll do opening day, I'll do St. Patrick's Day, Halloween, and New Year's. Those are my top
like
4.
Perfect right there. Right when you probably get sick or start feeling like you get an itch for it again, another day is here.
Yep.
That's incredible. I want to wrap up here soon, but I want to talk about any moments within the last maybe say year or so that have really like humbled you. Obviously, you've been through so much and you've built so much, and you're a fucking gladiator, dare I say now. But I think it's important to note that like, you can be on top of the mountain and still get humbled on the regular.
Yeah, I mean, every single day, honestly. When you're a business owner, you get humbled. You don't have it figured out. But I mean, we talked about it like Hayes. We closed the doors on Hayes 2 weeks ago.
Damn, that's crazy.
I know.
You had that
grand
place
opening, grand closing. Like
that was within a year, right?
No, like a year and a half.
Okay.
But like honestly, looking back on it, I didn't give it the time, the effort. Probably the knowledge of operating a restaurant is out of my wheelhouse. I've waited tables, but I've never. And obviously it was a partnership. It wasn't all on me to run it all, but maybe overstepped what I could deliver because also, around that time I had my daughter. So I wasn't, my daughter's my priority now.
Absolutely.
I don't care about being at a nightclub anymore or anything like that. I want to hang with Joey. Like, that's my girl.
That's the best.
Yeah. So, dude, she's the best. So, like, just the timeline of my life didn't work out. But, like, before, when we started talking about buying a nightclub and doing that stuff, I was single. Like, I didn't have a kid. But, it took 2 years to find a spot that we really liked.
Yeah.
So... But during that timeline, kind of my focus shift. So I didn't, but that's a huge loss, man. Like money's money.
Right.
And it's a tough break, but you got to rebuild and it's bounce house season, doubling down, working harder, trying to regain that money. go back at it at some point. I mean, you were with me when I took the L in Grand Rapids on the EDM festival.
We can talk about that for a second too. That was what a time that was.
Yeah, but at that time it was a $50,000 investment that I didn't see any return on. It's a tough hit back then.
It should have paid off. Should have on
you
paper.
You look at that lineup. Well, but on paper and then behind the scenes.
Yeah,
I think a part of the problem was we booked too much talent.
I would agree. I think you probably could have just had the headliner.
A headliner and local support would have been enough, and we would have been profitable.
Yeah, and you would have probably saved about 35 G's.
Oh, 100K. I mean, talent alone for that was like 225,000.
Holy shit.
When the initial budget for it was supposed to be like 95.
And then production.
Oh, the production, building the stage, like fucking even the fencing and the bike rack. Like, you don't think about those things before you throw a festival, Obviously, had fun that night. Had to.
It was a good one.
It was an expensive party, but we had fun. But those are the L's you take, and it's not going to stop me from swinging the bat again.
Would you ever do a concert again?
Yeah, for sure.
Sick.
For sure.
I want to do.
We've talked about it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just it hasn't really come to fruition. Honestly, talent prices have gone so far fucking out of control from 8 years ago. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough to throw that, but I think Millennium was 100K back then or something.
I wonder what he is now.
Way more. I get, honestly, like when I'm scrolling and then on my timeline I see him posting like sold out shit. I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. Couldn't sell out our shit. But it's nothing. It has nothing to do with him. So I have no personal vendetta against him. It's just like, God damn, that could have been us. Like, pictures look good.
It was a good time.
Oh man,
I love
the concept was there. It's just it got aborted, and it's as it's part of the reason I lost my job.
Yeah. Good times.
Long story for another day.
I know,
but it led to starting Woodward Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Like parlayed it.
Led to a bounce house company.
That came 5 years later.
That one day walking in the studio led to me having my own studio now. Kind of crazy.
I was only in Grand Rapids for 15 months, 18 months.
No, you were there for longer than that. You
No.
had to be.
No.
What?
I got there in 16 and fired in 18.
Okay, and I got there in 17.
Yeah.
So we had a year together. That was it.
A little less than me and you, yeah. But we ran that market. I mean,
we dominated that shit.
That's why they hated me.
Yeah.
Honestly, they hated me because of it. Like, people inside that building were not a fan of us winning.
Because we were rocking the boat.
We were the young kids being too loud.
Yeah.
But dude, we doubled our billing, but unfortunately, billing at another station fell more than our double. So we were a net loss to the building.
Yeah.
Crazy how that works.
So interesting. You would think you would just beef up the other side. That's going down.
That's just crushing it.
Yeah. Huh.
Things that make you go, John, that's a whole nother podcast.
I know. Well,
but no, I had a great time in Grand Rapids. Like,
yeah.
Actually achieving my goal of running my own radio station and doing it at such a high level was like, dude, we set records.
Yeah.
That will never be touched.
Right.
And were never touched before.
Right. Well, and now it's irrelevant. I mean, after COVID, who listens to the radio anymore?
Yeah, small market still a little bit, but it's programmed out of Chicago. It won't have
yeah.
Remember the pushback I got? I don't know if you were there at first, but like pushback I got on my music selection. Just incredible out there from the old jocks. Oh, Detroit won't work in Grand Rapids.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, it will. People love the hits.
Yeah, I always love that aspect of it. The Grand Rapids animosity towards the big city of Detroit.
It's so fun. I'll never forget like when they all merged and they came to Detroit for a meeting. And, like, I never knew that Grand Rapids thought about Detroit so much. Because, like, growing up, like, the only thing I knew about Grand Rapids is I met some hot chicks from Grand Rapids on spring break in 1999. That's all I ever knew about. Like, I never thought about it. I didn't know anything about it. And they think they're, like, competing with Detroit. I was like...
You guys are, like, market 80 or something like that.
I don't
Detroit's like 13.
Yeah, and Detroit was market 7 when I started.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I love Grand Rapids though. No, I'm not knocking Grand Rapids, but that little brother mentality is very strange. I was eye opening.
Yeah, Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
I definitely I thought it was kind of funny too, because Grand Rapids is a great town, but
great.
I think there's like an illusion there that they're like a Chicago-sized city. I think they're a small city that identifies as a big city, and it's like very. It's comical when you see it like in play.
Well, they're very like, you're right. They're very Chicago, because I didn't love living in Chicago, because it's kind of like they claim to be blue collar, but they like pose as white collar.
Yeah.
That's how I felt when I was in Chicago. And like Grand Rapids is like Detroit. No, we don't associate with the assembly line. We drive the cars. We don't build them. That's how I felt when I was out there.
Yeah. Good times in that town.
Oh, good. Great.
I got one thing I wanna wrap on. So I know you've had, I consider you a mentor to me. You've taught me a lot. You've shown me kind of just the importance of sticking your torch in the sand, sticking your shovel in the sand, and building a damn sandcastle, and not giving a fuck what anyone has to say about it.
Appreciate that.
So I guess kind of a two-part question. Like, what would you say to someone that hasn't taken that first leap, and then to alley-oop that? What do you say to someone like me who I feel like I'm doing well and I have a lot going on, but I never internally feel like I'm doing enough. Like I always, even today, man, like I had a full list of things I have to do. I still have a lot of stuff I have to do, but I'm like, I go to bed at night thinking like I need to be doing so much more. Like I'm not even scratching the surface. Like, what do you say to a young person that's like maybe a decade or two behind you that has aspirations of being in an entrepreneur position as you are?
Drew from Drew and Mike actually gave me this quote, and as you can tell, I'm a big quote guy.
Yeah.
I remember I used to write them on the whiteboards in the studio. But
yeah.
But if you're not embarrassed by your first try, you waited too long. I think that's one of the most important things. Like when I look back on Woodward Sports, you listen to your first air check. Horrible.
Not great.
Production's bad. Lighting's bad. Sound's bad. Opinions are bad. Like you look back on it and it's embarrassing, but that's what it should be. You're never going to start out a finished product ever. So just start.
Yeah.
That's for any young person. That's what I say. Just start.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for someone like you, I don't know, man. It's a horrible addiction. Good luck. I don't feel like I do enough. I don't feel like I'm like, I don't know. It's this, I'm with you in that weird sense of I could be doing more. I could be prouder of my output.
Yeah.
I should be prouder of my output.
Yeah.
And that's where, that's an internal struggle that I think successful people deal with.
I tried going to therapy for it.
Really?
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that and some other things too, but that was like a big pressing thing is like, I have this constant feeling like I'm not doing enough. And after like 3 sessions, my therapist literally fired me. She was like, hey, like, you're a really nice guy.
Wow.
I just don't know if I can help your situation that much. Like,
So you're that far
so my
gone?
champagne problems
You're
are
that far gone? God damn, man. Maybe me and you should just talk.
I know. I feel like I get a lot out of just talking to you and hearing about your trials and tribulations.
I don't know. Like to me, it's just life, though. Like once again, here's a quote. Like it was like you claimed you'd be happy with what you've already achieved, right? So like it's the endless struggle, but it's part of the human existence, right?
Yeah.
I got to the top of the mountain, but I see a higher peak over there. Well, now I want to go over there.
So you got to go all the way down,
Yep.
all the way over, all the way across, and then
Yep.
figure out how to get up.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't get distracted along the way, or you're never going to reach the same heights again.
Yeah.
It's scary, but it's awesome. I mean, that's the human experience, man. Enjoy it. Keep chasing it, whatever it is. And like, if it's like bounce house, cool. Bar, cool. Sports, cool. Skateboarding, cool. Like, as much as Kanye's faux pas right now, but like just because he was a producer, he's like, what? So I can't fucking design clothes? So I can't, talk about this? So I can't, just because people pin you as one thing doesn't mean you can't do other things.
Yeah.
It's like, don't let anybody limit you. But some people are very happy just being a specialist in their lane, showing up to work, step and repeat. It's easy, it's methodical, and there's comfort in that. Like I take comfort in my routines. But yeah, it's an insatiable need that it's going to be tough to fulfill, man. But it'll also lead you into cool places with cool people.
And it led me to right here.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Same place, same time, different starting points.
I love it.
Yep.
Well, Stick, can't thank you enough for coming on the pod.
Cool studio.
Coming to check out Shoebox.
I like it.
Thanks, man. It's it's coming together. So,
what episode is this?
This is like, I think it's like 6 or 7 now of the restart.
If you ever think of quitting, don't quit till you're at 600.
Okay, 600.
Yep.
Damn.
Give yourself a mark.
All right, 600. It's on record here. This guy.
I mean,
I like that.
Not
No,
to
it's
keep
good.
it going, but that was part of the agreement with Woodward. Like, well, look, we're not going to give this a year and give up on it if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
This is a 3-year build at least.
Yeah.
So it was understood. Like, and Gary Vee says that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't quit. Just keep throwing content.
I got a 2-year lease here, so I got to at least go for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want the like suction cup therapy, come here.
Yeah. They do. We got cupping, sauna, cold plunge, DJ booth, so much more.
82-year-old birthday parties. It's wild.
28. But
yeah.
I love it. Well, Stick, thanks so much, and see you on the next episode of the CHOFF Cast. We might have to have you in for a part 2 sometime.
Anytime, and we got to talk about that other podcast.
Oh shit! It's a teaser. Stay tuned.
CHOFF Cast. Yup, it's the CHOFF Cast. CHOFF Cast.